Okay, so we got a piece here in the Wall Street Journal. The headline is Why We Could Use a Good Long Bear Market. And unless the reason is because you want to make everyone feel immense amounts of pain and not be able to do the things that they could do if you were not in a bear market, there's not really any good reason to do so because bear markets suck. And I feel like this piece is basically the equivalent of... This piece really comes off as like the people online who, when there's a hurricane announced, get all excited about like, oh, it's going to be a Cat 5 without like realizing, hey, the actual storm kills people and damages lives and ruins entire metro areas.
But don't you feel like we've gotten a lot of this over the course of the last couple of years?
Yes, and
this cheering for a recession.
It sucks. Like I feel like people just don't remember what a recession is actually like because it's been so long that since we've had.
I'm going to quote the piece here. A downturn like 07-09, when U.S. stocks fell by more than half, can be both awful and therapeutic. So let's focus on the therapeutic part. What part?
Yeah, like I need to go to therapy because like,
what part of
it
1 in
sucks
10
so much?
What part of 1 in 10 people looking for work and unable to find it is therapeutic? What part of people losing their homes, losing their livelihood, permanently unable to borrow money because their credit scores get destroyed is therapeutic? Like, again, I am not excusing the bad behavior that led to the Great Recession by doing this. Like, you know, the bets that Wall Street was making and all of that stuff was stupid and, you know, led to serious problems. But then a whole bunch of people that weren't responsible for it paid the price. So cheering for a prolonged downturn should just never really happen. I think it should be acknowledged that it's a natural part of the system, that I do suspect at some point we will again have a prolonged downturn, and I acknowledge that it has been now 15 plus years since we've had one. But I don't welcome it.
No, it's not something that you root for. I think you can certainly say, hey, like when downturns happen, like, yes, you can end up getting rid of some of the problems that happen in markets as a result. But like, I don't think you can ever, like, you should never publish a piece like why we could use a good long bear market. I think you can also end up, by the way, with some of those the weeding out of like bad crap in markets without a really long bear market. Case in point, the SPAC mania of 2021 and 22, specifically in the EV space, we've basically worked through without having to go through a broader bear market because people decided, hey, we don't want to buy EVs in the quantity the market is producing, and we definitely don't want to buy EVs that are being pushed down a hill by their founder to make it look like they're moving on their own power when they're not. And so we're actually going to prosecute those people for fraud. And so the market worked that out without having a larger blow up. Now, some of that is just because the size of that bubble didn't get big enough to impact the broader economy. If we do end up finding out that this whole AI, valuation, crazy, growth thing is bubblicious, then there's going to be more pain that's felt over a broader swath of the market over a longer time period. And I don't think any of us are going to particularly like it because the consequences are likely pretty severe.
Just again, calling out some of the bad stuff. Right? I'm going to focus on the 08 recession since that's what this piece focused on. Stocks dropped by 50%. It took 66 months for them to recover back to where they were.
Like, ask anyone who retired then what it was like trying to figure out how you could live off your portfolio during that time.
It took 66 months for the stock market to recover. It took, I'm trying to find out, 10 years for the labor market to recover.
It's 120 months. 120 months.
10 years
and those are
for
years
the unemployment rate to get back to where it was pre-Great Recession. So, again, you can... I welcome all the, complaining about the stock market, complaining about speculation. I am critical of the market or the gambling type of mentality that markets have created as of late. But remember what other stuff comes along with a prolonged downturn, because it's not just, oh, the stock market goes down by 50%, it stays there for a little while, and I keep my home, I keep my job, and I'm able to put food on the table.
You don't know if you're going to be one of the people that's, hugely impacted by this, and this is why, no one should root for bear markets. It's not something. Again, I do feel like the only reason this piece gets published is because we haven't had a prolonged bear market in a long time. Imagine writing this piece in 2011 and what people would have said about it then.
Yeah.
It's just no.